Hello, welcome to Dungeoneer's Pack, a channel bringing you player-focused discussions and character guides for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Josh, thank you for watching. In this video, I will be going over the new subclasses found in the latest D&D 5th edition book, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. I'll be taking a closer look into the mechanics and flavor of the Echo Knight, Chronurgy Magic and Graviturgy Magic subclasses. After the deep dive, I will go over some character concepts that will help you fit these subclasses into the various official settings of 5th edition. If you would like to know what is in Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, my thoughts on the book, and whether you should buy it, check out my Should You Pick Up Explorer's Guide to Wildemount video. You can click on the icon in the corner or in the link below. With that said, let's get started. We are going to start off with the new fighter subclass, the Echo Knight. The premise of the class is that the fighter is pulling a copy of themselves from an unrealized timeline to aid them in combat. What has me excited about the Echo Knight is that it evokes this idea as seen on shows like Naruto or in comic book characters like Multiple Man, where you create a copy or clone of yourself to help you in difficult situations. Now let's dig into the mechanics. As a fighter, at level 3 we get to choose our subclass, and when we choose Echo Knight, we start off with 2 abilities. The first is Manifest Echo. Manifest Echo is the bread and butter mechanic for this subclass. It allows the Echo Knight to create a copy, referred to as an echo, that can be used in combat or during exploration. All of the other abilities in this subclass depend on this one. As a bonus action, we can create an echo of ourselves in a space within 15 feet of us. The echo has an armor class of 14, plus our proficiency bonus, only has 1 hit point, but is immune to all conditions. It also uses our saving throw bonus for any saves it needs to make. On our turn, we can move our echo up to 30 feet, but if somehow it managed to get beyond that 30 feet by the end of the turn, it is destroyed. As a bonus action, we can swap places with our echo by sacrificing 15 feet of movement. In reality, this would give us an extra 15 feet of movement if we take advantage of our echo's maximum distance. We still aren't done, because when we take the attack action, for each attack we can choose to attack from the location of the echo instead. And finally, we can make opportunity attacks from our echo's location. Manifest Echo is a loaded ability, but it accomplishes what you would expect to be able to do with a copy of yourself. It provides the fighter some mobility, and it allows the class to be tactical during combat in multiple locations. The other 3rd level ability for the Echo Knight is Unleashed Incarnation. Unleashed Incarnation is what optimizers are trying to break with this subclass. This ability allows us to make an additional melee attack from our echo's location when we've taken the attack action. The limitation is that we can only use this ability a number of times equal to our Constitution modifier. But the huge thing is that the additional attack we make does not take up a reaction or bonus action. It is a free action. For example, say you're a dexterity-based dual-wielding fighter. You would be able to make 3 attacks instead of 2. 1 with your main action, 1 with your offhand bonus action, and a free attack from your echo. Once you hit level 5 and get extra attack, that will be 4 attacks a turn. Now toss an action surge on top of this, and you can be firing off 7 attacks on a single turn. This has the potential to get crazy, as you can really pile on some damage by taking the Magic Initiate feat, choosing Warlock, and taking the Hex spell. At 7th level, the Echo Avatar ability allows us to use our Echo to help explore and scout. As an action, we can look through the eyes of our Echo, but during that time we are deafened and blinded. The cool thing is that we are able to be 1,000 feet away without it being destroyed. This gives the fighter the Find Familiar ability in some capacity. In some ways, this is better than a familiar. You can see a lot farther using your Echo than a wizard can using their familiar, and the Echo uses your stats to make saves and checks. On the other hand, the Echo will always be your size, which is usually medium, while a familiar is either tiny or small, which makes the familiar better suited to stealth. Either way, this is an awesome ability to allow the fighter to do more than just hit things. At level 10, the Shadow Martyr ability gives us some tanking power. As a reaction, we can send our Echo to take an attack for our ally before the attack is confirmed to hit. We can use this ability again after a short or long rest. Shadow Martyr really comes in handy if one of our allies is trying to maintain a key concentration spell, or they are 1 attack away from going down. Level 15 allows us to convert our fallen Echo into health to keep us in the fight with the Reclaim Potential ability. We regain 2d6 plus our con modifier whenever our Echo goes down. We can use this ability any number of times equal to our Constitution modifier. Reclaim Potential paired alongside Second Wind will keep us in the fight for a long time. The last ability we get is an upgrade to our Manifest Echo called Legion of One. Now, whenever we use Manifest Echo, we summon 2 instead of 1 echoes. Anytime we try to create a 3rd echo, it destroys the 2 we have. This doesn't give us any extra attacks, but it allows us to play more of the battlefield, being able to teleport between our echoes. Overall, the Echo Knight is an impressive subclass that's primary role is to use their double to control the battlefield with eventual out-of-combat utility as they progress in the subclass. The Echo Knight sits in similar aggressive space as the Samurai, Battlemaster, and Champion Fighter subclasses, but unlike those subclasses, the Echo Knight pushes the fighter into the exploration pillar of the game. The Echo Knight's strength in combat, other than the number of attacks it can make, is its mobility. While players on both sides of the DM screen may worry about the potential power creep, the Echo Knight has one big drawback. All of its abilities are dependent on its Echo, and the Echo is flimsy. A well-placed area damage spell or an intelligent enemy can disrupt the player's ability to capitalize on the subclass's mobility. The last two subclasses in the Wildemount book belong to the Wizard. Wizards aren't hurting in regards to their abundance of subclasses, but despite having a large amount of subclasses, there are still niches that need to be filled. Both Wizard subclasses in this book attempt to fill a battlefield control role in the party. First up is the Chronurgy Wizard, which has the ability to manipulate probability. Using its powers over time, it attempts to alter fate to control the battlefield and support their allies. The first ability that this subclass gets is a bit wild, but not because the ability itself does something crazy, it's because it takes a feat that is often regarded as overpowered and turns it into a class feature. I'm talking about the Lucky Feat, and that's what the second level ability Chronal Shift emulates. Chronal Shift allows us to force a reroll from a creature on their attack roll, ability check, or saving throw if they are within 30 feet of us. There are two major differences between Chronal Shift and the Lucky Feat. Chronal Shift can be used twice, while the Lucky Feat can be used 3 times. Also, the result from the reroll from Chronal Shift is final, while the Lucky Feat allows you to pick the best roll from all the results. The limitations placed on Chronal Shift bring it more in line with the Divination Wizard's Portent ability, and that's also at level 2. The Portent ability in some situations is stronger as it guarantees 2 dice rolls, while Chronal Shift relies entirely on probability. The next ability the Chronurgy subclass gets at level 2 is Temporal Awareness. Temporal Awareness allows us to add our intelligence modifier to our initiative. This bump to our initiative can really help us fire off a control spell, a mass damage spell, or support spell to give us the advantage we need in combat from the get-go. At 6th level, the Momentary Stasis ability can keep an enemy out of the fight. As an action, we can incapacitate a large or smaller creature if they fail a Constitution saving throw. In order for that creature to break out of this hold, they either have to be struck or pass another Constitution saving throw on their next turn. This is a really solid ability that allows us to have a crowd control option on hand that won't take up our concentration. Also, if someone makes the save, we can pair this up with our Chronal Shift ability to get another chance at locking someone down. At level 10, Arcane ABEYANCE allows us to have a ring of spell storing that we can pass off to our allies. Whenever we cast a spell of 4th level or lower, instead we can contain the spell into a bead with an armor class of 15 and 1 hit point for 1 hour. In this hour, we can pass it off to an ally or hold it ourselves. When the spell is released from the bead as an action, either by us or an ally holding the bead, it uses our spell attack bonus and spell save DC, but it treats the person that released the spell as the caster. This is huge because if our ally was the one to release the spell, and that spell required concentration, they will be the one to maintain concentration. This ability is pretty solid as it gives us an option to give a spell to an ally that can get in a better position to deploy it, or give a spell to someone that will have a better chance at maintaining the spell's concentration. Coming in at level 14 is this subclass's last ability, Convergent Future. Convergent Future allows us to use our reaction to ensure that ours, an ally's, or an enemy's attack roll, ability check, or saving throw succeeds or comes up just short as long as they are within 60 feet of us. Whenever using this ability, we gain 1 level of exhaustion. This ability won't be used to force enemies to fail their saves or attacks, as the result we can guarantee is just 1 point under the minimum needed to succeed, and on average, enemies will have bonuses that will push it above the AC or DC minimums. Instead, we should use our level 2 Chronal Shift ability to try and force that failure. Convergent Future is something we want to use to make sure that a key save, attack roll, or ability check succeeds. Backed up by the Wizard's expansive spell list, this subclass is strong. This is one of those subclasses that rewards players who like to plan and really understand the mechanics of the game in order to maximize the potential of the toolkit. The subclass has a strong possibility of having 3 crowd control or support effects going on at the same time. With this subclass, we have the possibility of having haste and slow being active from us while also keeping someone incapacitated with momentary stasis. Just store haste or slow with Arcane ABEYANCE and give it to an ally to pop. Graviturgy Magic is the last subclass added in Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. This subclass wants to play into the telekinetic or Jedi Force user character fantasy. In comparison to the Chronurgy Magic subclass, Graviturgy only gets 1 ability at level 2. That ability is Adjust Density. Adjust Density allows us to double or cut in half the weight of a large or smaller creature within 30 feet of us for 1 minute. Depending on whether we make the target heavier or lighter, there are a series of benefits and drawbacks for each choice. If we make the target lighter, they have an additional 10 feet to the movement speed and can jump twice as far as normal. The drawback is that the creature is horrible with strength checks and strength saving throws, having to make either with disadvantage. If we make the target heavier, the target has advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws, but their movement is reduced to 10 feet. This really feels like they gave a variation of the enlarge and reduce spell as an ability. Adjust density requires concentration, but we can use it an unlimited number of times. This ability offers a lot of flexibility and will reward players who are creative to use it to its full potential. One example would be to take advantage of an enemy that is neck deep in water, double their weight, and down to the bottom they go. Starting at level 6, Gravity Well will allow us to manipulate an ally or enemy's position on the battlefield whenever we cast a spell on a creature. As long as that creature is hit with the spell attack, fails a saving throw, or is a willing target, they are moved 5 feet in a direction of our choice. Gravity Well reminds me a lot of the Warlock's Eldritch Evocation, Repelling Blast. But unlike Repelling Blast only applying to a single cantrip, Gravity Well applies to all of our spells. This means if we cast Fireball on our enemies, we can push them 5 feet in any direction. It also means whenever we cast Haste or any other buff on our allies, we can move them 5 feet into a better position. At level 10, we can help bring the pain or take advantage of those sudden falls our enemies make with the ability Violent Attraction. Violent Attraction allows us to use a reaction on a target that's 60 feet away to add an additional d10 of damage on an ally's attack or take advantage of a falling enemy and increase the fall's damage by 2d10. We can only use this ability a number of times equal to our intelligence modifier, but more than not, if we aren't using our reaction to cast shield or counterspell, we most definitely are using this to help bring down an enemy quickly. Also, the damage from this ability doubles when applied to a critical hit, so we just have to be mindful of our positioning in order to take advantage and apply the damage. For the last ability in this subclass, Event Horizon is a lot like the cleric spell, Spirit Guardians. Centered on our position, any creature that starts their turn within 30 feet of us must make a strength saving throw. If they fail, they take 2d10 force damage and have their speed reduced to 0. If they make the save, they take half as much damage and their speed costs 2 extra feet of movement. On average, this removes 10 feet or 2 squares worth of movement if their base speed is 30 feet. This ability is flavorful but requires you to maintain concentration on it and really wants you to be in the fight to lock down a group of enemies. Even if you expend your one-day use, you can use a 3rd level spell slot or higher to be able to use it again. In comparison with the Chronurgy subclass, the Graviturgy comes up a little bit short. Both subclasses have class abilities that are variations of spells or feats, but the Graviturgy subclass has to maintain concentration to keep these abilities active, while the Chronurgy wizard can keep a target incapacitated without having to have that same restriction. It's not to say that the Graviturgy wizard is terrible by any means, it's just a drawback to keep in mind. To circumvent this, instead when playing a Graviturgy wizard, go the blaster route in order to capitalize on the Gravity Well ability and have the option to use your concentration abilities when needed. The subclasses appear to be powerful, but are relative in balance with other subclasses that are on the stronger side. Overall, these new subclasses are worth getting excited over and provide a new and interesting ways to play the respective classes. Now let's take a look at how these subclasses can fit into other official settings of 5th edition. Starting with the Echo Knight, if we're playing in a standard fantasy setting like Forgotten Realms, here are 2 ideas. The first is a Gith Psy Warrior that creates a psionic double to help them in combat. The other is a Peter Pan-like elf pirate who can manipulate their own shadow to help them fight. For Ravnica, an Echo Knight that is a Dimir assassin that can create their shadowy double to help them on their missions to extract information. In Eberron, an Echo Knight can be an elf with the Mark of Shadow from the Dragonmark House Thorani sent to infiltrate various organizations throughout Corvair. And in Theros, an Echo Knight can be a Spartan warrior blessed by the gods with the ability to create their own phalanx. And now for the Chronurgy wizard. In Forgotten Realms, you can use this subclass to play a halfling gambler conman that likes to push their luck. In Ravnica, the Chronurgy Wizard's toolkit really fits with the flavor of being a precog mage for the Azorius Guild. For Eberron, a character with an aberrant dragon mark tied to the forces of time that's quite possibly connected to the Day of Mourning. And for Theros, playing a prophet of the god of mystery, Krufix. Now here are some character concepts for the Graviturgy Wizard. In Forgotten Realms, playing a goblin or gnome hermit that is in tune with the natural forces of the universe would go a long way of emulating Yoda from Star Wars in the setting. In Ravnica, a Graviturgy Wizard could be an Izzet mage that is accidentally breaking the forces of gravity. For Eberron, the subclass can be an experimental Warforged model built with the ability to manipulate density and velocity. And at last, in Theros, the subclass can be used to create a Greek philosopher infused with the power of Nyx, allowing them to manipulate the natural forces of the plane. With that said, I want to hear from you. Comment below and let me know which subclass you want to use in your next campaign. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to know when a new video goes up. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.